Remember 2023? The Las Vegas Raiders went 5-4 down the home stretch of the season after starting off 3-5 because then interim head coach Antonio Pierce gave them an identity. The defense was number one in the second half of the season, and he committed to running the ball on offense. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell didn't complete a pass for 3/4 of a game, and the Raiders still won it. So we expected the Raiders to come back and do the same thing again last year, but they didn't. Then GM Tom Telesco drafted well, but against Pierce's wishes, he let running back Josh Jacobs go in free agency. There was a disconnect between Pierce and Telesco. There's no such disconnect between GM John Spytek and Pete Carroll. They are one of court and have already put together some identity pieces to go into this year with. The Raiders drafted a huge identity piece in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, Ashton Jeanty. I'm still buzzing over the fact that the Raiders got him. In 2022, the Raiders established themselves as a predominant power gap scheme team with Jacobs leading the league in rushing. Then he missed some games due to injury in 2023. They let him walk, and then they switched to zone blocking, and offense coordinator Luke Getsy wondered why they couldn't run the ball. There weren't that many holes to run through, but running backs missed a good portion of the holes that were there, and they didn't make guys miss or break a lot of tackles. That's what Jeanty's known for and what we should expect from him. Carroll had Marshawn Lynch in Seattle, and he set the tempo with all the tackle-breaking runs he had. He got the crowd going, he got the defense fired up, and most importantly, he kept the ball away from the opposing offense. Jeanty's cut from the same beast mode cloth Lynch is, so it's going to be his job to do the same thing for the Raiders. Being the number 6 overall pick in the draft, expectations are through the roof for him, and he's no doubt going to be one of Carroll's main identity pieces. As many tackles as Jeanty breaks, he still needs a good offensive line. Most good to great offensive lines have a nasty boy that sets the tone by tossing a guy or pancaking him. That makes the rest of the offensive line want to do that, so they get a little meaner and more aggressive. The Raiders have center Jackson Powers Johnson do that now. I know left tackle Colt Miller is the Raiders' best offensive lineman right now, but Powers does set the tempo. At guard, he was okay, maybe thinking too much from playing a new position, but once they put him back in his natural position, he took off. He especially took off on the guy lined up across from him. Then all of a sudden the Raiders got movement at the line of scrimmage, and there were holes to run through inside. The two best things that happened to the Raider running game last year were Joe Philbin becoming the offensive line coach and Powers moving to center. Powers is also good in pass protection. He tosses guys around and pancakes them in the passing game just like he does in the running game. Man, I'm telling you, this kid is a destroyer, and I can't wait to see him seek and destroy this coming season. It takes a certain type of quarterback to play with a team that's committed to the running game. A lot of quarterbacks out there have to throw themselves into a rhythm to get themselves going. Some of them believe they need to throw the ball a lot, period. Geno Smith isn't one of them. He'll throw it 40 times if he has to. He'll throw it 15 times if that's all he needs. He's ready to do whatever he has to do when he has to do it. That's what a real game manager is. It's not, okay kid, don't mess it up. You can manage a game and throw for 500 yards if that's how it happens to work out. It's about doing whatever it takes to win, run or pass. Oh, he can run and scramble too. What he did in Seattle was with a pretty bad offensive line. But when you call on him to throw it, he'll be accurate. He's the most accurate quarterback over the last 3 years. He has a big arm and throws one of the best deep balls in the league too. That especially comes in handy when you've established a run and the opposing defense puts 8 in the box to stop it. Carroll is all about running the ball and throwing it deep off play action. Man, you'd think Pete Carroll worked for Al Davis at some point in his life. A lot of what he looks for in players is what Al Davis used to look for. Speed is a big part of Carroll's branding and identity. He had speedsters DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett back in Seattle. Now he has Trey Tucker, who was already here. We didn't get to see Tucker do too much these last couple of years because of the quarterback situation. I'm thinking Smith will get something out of him. Carroll went out and got more speed along with some height in the draft too. He drafted Dante Thornton in the 4th round. Thornton is 6'5", 205 pounds, and runs a 4.30 40. That speed and ability to win contested catches makes him the ultimate deep threat. Tucker ran a 4.40 at the combine and a 4.29 at his pro day in 2023, so you have more than one deep threat to watch out for. You gotta have deep threats when you have the type of running game the Raiders are gonna have this coming year. Opposing defenses will have a choice to make. Do they put 8 in the box to stop the run or keep the safeties back to defend the deep ball? Of course, tight end Brock Bowers established himself as a superstar tight end last year as a rookie like we hope and expect Jeanty to as a running back this year. He was the Raiders' #1 receiver, and I don't think any of us are expecting that to change this year. First off, the Raiders don't have that do-it-all #1 receiver type at the receiver position. That's a big part of why Bowers was able to come in and have such a big impact on the Raiders in just his first year. And since the Raiders are going to run the ball so much with Gentry, Bowers, like so many other tight ends, will benefit immensely from that. As I said in a previous video, play action sucks the linebacker and safeties up. That'll give him at least a one-step head start on whoever's covering him. As we all know, Bowers doesn't need a head start to beat the guy that's covering him. They didn't have a running game that the NFL respected last year, and look at all he was able to do as a rookie. This year he's going to have the benefit of the entire defense sucking into Gentry when the Raiders run play action. That'll give him a bigger head start, so he'll remain a big part of the Raiders' identity on offense. On defense, the Raiders' identity starts in the trenches like it's supposed to. It all starts with edge rusher Max Crosby, who's been leading the charge but should have some help this year. He had plenty of help over the second half of 2023 as the defense was number 1 in the NFL over that period. Malcolm Kuzma racked up 8 sacks the second half of that season and was expected to do some major damage last year but didn't play it down. He'll be back this year. Interior defensive lineman Christian Wilkins is one of the best defensive linemen in football, and he was supposed to be a big help last year, but he only played in 5 games. Even Crosby, Mr. Iron Man himself, missed 5 games with an injury. It's hard to be great on defense when you have guys of that caliber out for the length of time they were out. They're all healthy now, and interior defensive lineman Adam Butler, who rushes the passer well from the interior, will return. We'll see if 2023 first-round pick Tyree Wilson will become a big part of the identity of the defensive line, but the defensive line will be a big part of the identity of the team like the great Raider defensive lines of the past, if they stay healthy. The Raiders have been identified by their corners for the longest of time, but once Nnamdi Asomugha came and went, that ceased to be the case. Looks like they're going to be identified by their corners again soon, though. It's actually already in progress with Jacorian Bennett. He has decent size at 5'11", 190 pounds, but where he aligns with traditional Raider corners is his 32-inch long arms made for press man coverage and his blazing 4.30 40-yard dash speed. Bennett was in the middle of a breakout season last year before he went out with an injury. The Raiders went into this offseason needing an outside corner on the other side too, and they addressed the position in free agency and the draft. In free agency, they got former Green Bay Packers corner Eric Stokes, who fits the bill at 6'1", 195 pounds with 32-inch long arms and 4.3 wheels. I like Stokes a lot, but he's going to be in the battle with the guy I'm really intrigued with. The Raiders drafted Darian Porter in the 3rd round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Porter is 6'2", 195 pounds with 33-inch long arms and runs a 4.30 40. The Raider corner type is back no matter who wins. Carroll seems to look for the same type of player Davis does at a lot of positions. Safety is another one of them. He looks for big hitters just like Davis did. He had Jack Tatum and George Atkinson back in the 70s and Van McElroy and Mike Davis in the 80s, as well as others. Opposing receivers were afraid to run across the middle and try to catch the ball in their zones. Of course, Carroll had Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor back in Seattle. Now he has Jeremy Chinn and Isaiah Palomino. Chinn is the Carolina Panthers' 2020 second-round pick, and they struggled to develop him, not knowing where they should put him. He started out at linebacker and then moved to safety. Then he went to the Washington Commanders, where Carroll's former defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is. He gave Chinn Chancellor's role in his defense, and Chinn started to flourish in it. Palomino did a good job last year with his opportunity on Marcus Epps' stead after making the team as an undrafted free agent in 2022. The hidden part's obviously there, but hopefully the Raiders can develop Palomino into a ball hawk like Thomas was, at least a little bit. The biggest problem with the Raiders in recent years is they've had no identity, nothing to hang their hat on. No one to make you say the Raiders are going to win because they got this guy doing this or that guy doing that. They kind of had one in 2023 under Pierce, but that was very short-lived. But this year Carroll has inherited a good defensive line in Crosby, Wilkins, Kuntz, and Butler. And of course there are the press corners and the hard-hitting safeties. On offense, it all starts with Gentry in the offensive line with power setting the tempo. From there, Smith can throw to Bowers or deep to one of the speedsters. It all starts with identity. Thank you for watching. See you next time.